Selena says, any advice for the ladies in a man's business world? You got to be fucking ruthless. I think that um, male traits or masculine traits, for lack of better words, tend to predict success in a capitalistic environment more so than feminine traits. For example, a very deep feminine trait is agreeableness or empathy, and things like that. Whereas, more masculine traits tend to be sort of, I wouldn't argue discipline because there's lots of disciplined women, but control, aggression, etc., and also competitiveness. And so, like, if you're a woman and you want to beat the men, you kind of have to learn how to behave like men, because the traits that men have tend to predict success more in this space. But the other thing I'd really realize, Lena, is that you're not competition at the level of business when you're starting out doesn't really exist. Like, most people you're competing with, men or women alike, just suck. And the market is so large and the ticket of your service is so low to a degree that, people rebuy, you won't struggle. Competition becomes an issue when you're up against really competent entrepreneurs. Okay. So say that you wanted to, it depends also, the size of competition that you need to worry about depends on the size of your goal. If you want to get to just making 10K a month, 20K a month, 30K a month, 50K a month, you do not need to concern yourself with competition, because you need such a tiny percentage of the market to buy from you. So say, for example, say you're in the gym niche and there's 100,000 gyms. And let's say that you charge $1,000 for your service. Then all you need is something like 0.001% of the market to buy from you and for you to retain that, which means that you don't need to worry about competition. So people have this big perception of competition being a big problem, but it's really not. But if your goal is the 8-figure, 9-figure level, 7 figures to a degree, then competition becomes a little bit more frightening, because you're competing with people that you need to basically capture and own more of the market, if that makes sense. And so, like, for example, in the software game, in the B2B software game, which is something that I'll be looking at in the near future, I'm going to be up against people who have billion-dollar companies, who already own 20% of the market, who have, hundreds of millions of dollars in yearly revenue, with, hundreds of software engineers and offices. And I'm up against people that are funded by private equity firms that have access to these things. So it's kind of like, to break into those markets, that's competition. You're up against people that are fucking animals, and they've been doing this for 10 years longer than you. They have 10 times more money, 10 times more experience, 10 times the customer base, 10 times loyalty to the market, 10 times the brand. That's competition. Breaking into a market like that's when you need to be incredibly talented, incredibly hardworking, and just massively, massively apply yourself. But if you want to go from 0 to 10K a month, competition doesn't really exist. Because again, if you've got even 10,000 people in your niche, you need what? 10 of them? Not even 1%, not even 0.1%, 0 point something percent. So yes, Lena, I hope that helps you.